Hello, Sam again here with Bluegrass Martial Arts in Louisville, Kentucky, with more of our Scholar and Warrior series. That's left hand is a sword for scholar, right hand is a fist for the warrior, wisdom and action. We bring those together. So this is a series where we discuss some of the discipleship here, or the worldview out of which I instruct, out of which I teach my martial arts classes, because at Bluegrass Martial Arts we teach Kenpo Karate for Christ. It is a Christian worldview out of which that I'm teaching, so we don't have any of the Eastern influences on what we do. We replace that instead with understanding of who we are as image bearers of God. So along with that here, our series is talking about the sanctity of life and why we do martial arts, protecting that sanctity of life. And the next section I want to look at actually has quite a bit of content to it, several ideas at play. And this is out of Ephesians chapter 2, and we're going to start at it's just 3 verses, 8, 9, and 10. It says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as the result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, so that we would walk in them." So, being an image bearer, getting with that idea of image bearer here, where it says that we are his workmanship. The actual term there in workmanship is poema in Greek, and that's where we get our word for poem. So again, that idea that who we are as beings that bear the image of God, we are his poetry here at work, with flesh, in motion, all the time. That man has an intrinsic value placed upon us because we bear the image of God. We are his workmanship. Now that's not all that this verse has to say. Again, there's a lot of content to this, that we are his workmanship, that we were created for good works. So that this idea of what is grace and that which is works, and kind of how those two ideas conflict or wrestle with each other, and always have traditionally in Christianity, is that we get locked up in, well, we've got to do good stuff. But we talked about in the last video that idea of fearing God, or what it means to fear God, what it means to be fearfully and wonderfully created. That God is beyond what we can do to add or subtract from his glory. He's completely independent of us. So you cannot put God in your debt. Regardless of how many good works you do, there's not a way you can kind of earn your way into his favor. It doesn't work that way. And I know there are systems of faith out there that will say basically when your life is up, your good works will be weighed against the bad things that you did also. But that's just not true. And it's certainly not true within the Christian worldview. The way we are placed in God's favor is completely through grace. It is completely through this free gift that he gives us, that he offers us through faith in Jesus. And we're going to talk a lot more about that in some of the coming series here. What it means to have faith, what it means to, what grace is, how all that kind of comes into play. But that is actually how we find favor with God. That is how we're brought back into a relationship there, a relationship that's broken with God, is through faith in Christ Jesus. It doesn't have anything to do with the good stuff that we do, but that we are created image bearers with the design of that creation being that we would do good works. It's intended that we do good works. This doesn't mean that just because God gives us grace that we go do whatever we want to do. We're created with a purpose, and that purpose, that design placed upon our life, is a design to do good. But to do good, then we have to have some sense of a moral framework. And where does that moral framework come from? Well, if it doesn't come from something outside of ourselves, then we will create that moral framework, and that moral framework will be based on our image, or what benefits us, right? So instead of that measure being upon what we call good being outside of ourselves, something transcendent to us, that moral standard being placed upon God and His holiness, if we don't have that, then we will place it upon man. And man will be the center of all things. And then the question becomes, well, which man? Which man actually provides a standard that we can consider truly to be that which is good and that which isn't? Every man will become their own standard then of what is good and what is not. So just understanding we're made for good works, but that our Creator defines that which is good. And so as beings that are made in His image, that were designed to do good things, those good things have to come out of an understanding of what is good, and that understanding of what is good cannot be placed upon our own standard of morality. It has to be something transcendent, something universal, something beyond us, right? It has to be the holiness of God in that case, is who defines that which is good. So, a lot of stuff kind of wrapped into that package, and there's a lot of stuff we're going to come back to. That idea of works, that idea of faith, that idea of grace, right? And all of that stuff, though, the point right now being that we are image bearers, that we are actually poema, that we are God's workmanship, that there's a design placed upon our lives, and that design is that we do good things. Well, to do good things as opposed to do evil things or selfish things or greedy things, we have to have a standard of what is good, right? We have to be able to answer that question. And that question, if it finds its answer in anything other than something transcendent than who we are, then we'll only place, the measure of man will be man. And then the question is, which man? Which man is actually the determining factor of what we call good, right? And each person will become their own measure then of what is good. So we're going to come back to these ideas also as we look at the cosmic battle, as we look at the worldview, the war of worldviews that we have and different ideas that are out there. But I wanted to focus on the idea that we are God's workmanship, that we are God's poetry here with flesh on and moving and making decisions and hopefully doing things as He has designed us to do for good, right? For good works. That is our next lesson here with the Wisdom in Action Scholar in the Warrior series. Again, my name is Sam. Please come visit us if you're in the Louisville area, Bluegrass Martial Arts, or give us a call. Feel free to come by. We do free trial classes anytime. So thank you for your time. I'll see you soon.